Welcome everyone. Let's jump right into this explainer. Today we're looking at something truly fascinating, the cultural mechanics of football fandom. Specifically, we are diving deep into how former Liverpool Football Club defender Jamie Carragher became so much more than just a player on a pitch. He actually became a cultural symbol, the ultimate avatar for the city of Liverpool and its unique local identity.
Think about your own favorite global superstar for a second. Now, consider this core sociological question that's going to guide our whole analysis today. How does one player become the symbol of an entire city? Because let's face it, in an era where top-tier footballers are absolute global superstars, separated from everyday fans by massive wealth and celebrity culture, Carragher pulled off something incredibly rare. He literally bridged that gap. He became the living, breathing embodiment of a fan base.
To understand exactly how he did this, we're going to break his identity down into 5 key pillars. We'll cover a global club's local heart, the working class ethos, crossing the city divide, Scouse, not English, and finally, the global fan perspective.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, a global club's local heart.
So, the modern English Premier League is a hyper-globalized machine. Teams like Liverpool are transnational, billion-dollar brands with fans in literally every corner of the earth. But, this massive global success creates a really interesting tension right at home. As international fans started flocking to Anfield, a distinct divide emerged. Traditional local supporters started using terms like OOTers, out-of-towners, or wools to describe these newer consumer fans coming from outside the city. Basically, the locals felt this urgent need to establish cultural boundaries. They wanted to protect what they saw as their authentic, working-class football culture from turning into a sanitized global product.
And this tension, it sparked immediate, organized pushback from the locals. Movements like Keep Flag Scouse and Reclaim the Cop popped up. These were organized efforts by local supporters to educate the incoming day trippers on what authentic club culture actually looks like. They were determined to maintain a strict local identity inside the stadium. And sitting right at the absolute center of this push for authenticity was Jamie Carragher. For these fans, he was the anchor of what it meant to be a true Liverpool supporter.
Moving right along to Section 2, the working class ethos. So what exactly did Carragher do to earn this incredible level of reverence? Well, it wasn't just about where he was born, it was about his values. Take a listen to what his former teammate, goalkeeper Xander Westervelt, noted. He said that when he arrived at the club, Carragher would be lying on the floor in the dressing room, completely exhausted after every single game and every training session. Westervelt said he'd never seen anything quite like it. Carragher's absolute physical dedication and blue-collar work ethic flawlessly mirrored the exact traits those local working-class fans prided themselves on.
He completely embodied what he called the Shankly laws. In his own words, Carragher fiercely contrasted Liverpool's values with the wealthy, flashy celebrity culture of clubs like Chelsea, who he pointed out loved nothing more than to wave 20-pound notes at our visiting fans. Carragher believed that at Liverpool, being flash was totally frowned upon. It was all about humility, hard work, and dedicating absolutely everything you had to the shirt. No exceptions.
His co-captain, Gerrard, backed this up perfectly. Gerrard highlighted that across Carragher's staggering 737 appearances for the club, he showed nothing but blood, sweat, and determination. Gerrard praised his truly unmatched will to win and his irreplaceable vocal leadership on the pitch. But what's really interesting is that Gerrard also noted Carragher played hard, but fair, and actually had a fantastic disciplinary record. He was the ultimate organizer, a player who maximized every ounce of his talent through sheer, unrelenting personal sacrifice.
Which brings us to Section 3, crossing the city divide.
Now, there's a fascinating contradiction in Carragher's early life that makes his status as a Liverpool legend even more compelling. We have to look at his boyhood allegiances. You see, Carragher actually grew up in Bootle as a passionate fan of Liverpool's absolute fiercest local rivals, Everton. Seriously, his father even gave him the middle names Lee and Duncan to honor an Everton manager Gordon Lee and a player Duncan McKenzie. But after joining the Liverpool Academy in his teens, his loyalty slowly converted. What's absolutely vital here is that local fans didn't hold his past against him. Why? Because he fully assimilated. Back in 2001 for the UEFA Cup final, fans made him a massive Bootle's Finest banner that highlighted his number 23 shirt. While Carragher refused to ever change his squad number after that, purely out of respect for that fan effort. He proved that crossing the bitter city divide is totally forgiven, as long as you completely and utterly immerse yourself in your new club's culture.
All right, Section 4, Scouse, not English. Let's transition to perhaps the most deeply sociological and political aspect of Carragher's identity, his relationship with the English national team. To really understand this, we have to talk about Scouse identity. Historically, Liverpool experienced heavy socio-political tensions, particularly during the economic struggles under the 1980s Conservative government. During that era, the city felt quite marginalized from the rest of the country, and for a lot of people, football success offered an escape and a source of immense local pride. This historical context fostered a distinct imagined geography among locals. It's a sentiment perfectly captured in the popular fan chant, "We're not English, we are Scouse."
This unique identity really comes into focus when we contrast Carragher with his former teammate Michael Owen. Now, Owen was a phenomenal player who starred for the England national team, but he came from a more middle-class background and was largely viewed by traditional local fans as culturally detached. Carragher, on the other hand, with his working-class roots, clearly prioritized Liverpool over England. Because of that choice, the local fans completely embraced Carragher as their true cultural avatar, while holding the internationally successful Owen at arm's length.
This whole dynamic reached a boiling point in 2007. Carragher made the decision to retire from international football specifically to prolong his career with Liverpool. Shortly after, a host on TalkSport Radio criticized him on air, basically calling his dedication into question. And what happened next is just wild. Carragher actually called into the live radio broadcast to fiercely confront the host and defend his commitment to his club. For the local fans, this display of rebellious loyalty was just incredible. His hero status skyrocketed instantly because he was publicly standing up for the city's exact sentiments.
His mindset on the whole thing was totally uncompromising. He famously stated, "I'd rather add 2 more years to my Liverpool career than jeopardize this for England. I wasn't giving up my football career, only England." He unapologetically verbalized the exact feelings of the local fan base. He wasn't just a player to them anymore. He had become their ultimate spokesman.
Finally, let's look at Section 5, the global fan perspective.
So, we know how the locals view him, but how do international fans process this hyperlocal hero? Do these deep cultural nuances actually translate overseas? Well, researchers analyzed a podcast produced by a group of highly committed American supporters called the Texas Boot Room. What they found was pretty fascinating. Both the local fans in Liverpool and the Texas fans absolutely respected Carragher's heart, his dedication, and his loyalty. However, the Texas fans viewed him through a much less politicized lens. While local fans would largely forgive his athletic decline later in his career because of his deep cultural resonance, the Texas fans were more pragmatic and openly critical of his aging athleticism. They didn't share that ingrained historical need to reject English identity. It really shows us that while a local symbol can absolutely be globally respected, the semiotics, the way the meaning of the player is interpreted, changes depending on where you're sitting.
All of this brings us to a final, really provocative thought to leave you with. As we look at the modern era of billion-dollar transnational sports brands, where academies recruit globally and players are managed like multinational corporations, in today's hyper-globalized game, will we ever see a hyper-local hero like Jamie Carragher again? A player who doesn't just play for a city, but entirely embodies its socio-political soul? It's definitely a fascinating question to ponder. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning what you see on the pitch.